What's up, weirdo?
What's up, basement dweller?
Yep. I mean, that works. That works for the story that I have, and that works just always. I just am a worm in my own basement, hiding from the world. Listen, this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I found a song yesterday.
Oh my god, this so much is about to happen.
No, but it's called somebody. Listen, I was on TikTok. Somebody was doing a series of introducing us to artists that are on Lollapalooza, and all the artists that they put up were honestly so good. And then this artist that they put up, they have a song called "Worm in the Sun," and I'm like, that's my fucking summer anthem, bro.
This is wild.
What do you know, "Worm in the Sun"?
I don't, but I walked to the bakery today to get some bread, saw a big fat robin with a worm in its mouth on the way home, and made up a whole song about about worms today.
What have the episodes been? There's been Coppola heavy episode, vampire heavy episode. This is gonna be worm heavy episode.
Big fat robin eating a worm. Big fat robin eating a worm. Big fat robin eating a worm. The early bird gets the worm, but the early worm gets got.
What the fuck? I don't know if that was a song.
Well, I'm doing it wrong because when I was walking, I was also whistling like a psychopath. So it was like, big fat bird gets a worm.
Oh
Big
my
fat
God.
bird gets the worm. But then the whole point of it was that the message is the early bird gets the worm, but the early worm gets got. So don't be an early worm.
I'm definitely not an early worm. I'm a night worm, but I'm gonna have to be worm in the sun for the summer.
All right, let's worm right off the beginning.
Worms.
Worms, 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 worms.
Worms. Okay, we're done. But it'll probably come back. Anyway, fucking, I don't know what just happened. Okay, so okay, you guys, the headline is we had our third Wuwpod Weekends group trip this past weekend where we had 20 Wuwpod lovers and friends come hang out with us for the weekend, and we did all the activities and all the things. But listen, the night before, you went to the listen, side note, Teddy went to the bar like 5 days of the week last week. I don't know what happened to your life, but anyway.
5 days in a row.
Yeah, insane. You're insane, bro. It took me building myself up for 3 weeks just to go once. Anyway, so the day before, it's all over the internet. It's all over every weather app. It's, we're going to have bad storms later, tornado warnings, tornado watches. There's tornadoes in the area. What do? Go to Gus's. So then there's me at home. The tornado sirens are going off. I have to bring Toad in the basement. And I'm just like, Tenny's at the bar.
We walked into the bar. It was slightly drizzling. At one point, I was outside smoking, and one of our friends came out and said, who's not from the area, and said, I just got a tornado alert on my phone. And I was like, go back in the bar. It's fine. And then we went back in the bar. And when they closed the bar, we walked and got food. And everything was fine.
You're insane. It wasn't just a watch. It was a warning, bro. It was take cover. So listen, since it was the trip for the weekend, I always like get all ready, like I'm doing something. But anyway, so I put hair dye on my freaking head. And then we had a tornado warning, and I had to get in the shower and wash my hair dye off. And then, there was a gap. The sirens went off, then it kind of stopped. So I got in the shower. And then when I got out of the shower, I opened my weather app, and it literally said take cover when I opened it. I'm like, motherfuck. And I had no clothes on. I'm like, I have to pick I literally grabbed my clothes in one hand and grabbed the dog in another hand, butt ass naked, and went down the stairs naked. I'm like, I have to grab clothes because what if a tornado comes and then the house pulls off and I have no clothes on? Anyway, so and it's all the energy is very spastic. Toad never goes down there. I don't know if he's ever been down there ever, bro. And so I lay us out a little blanket and I put him on it. And like I just told you guys, I had freshly dyed my hair, showered. I put on self tanner, which you can't get wet for 24 hours. I sit on the ground next to the dog. Toad lifts his leg and pees all over my legs. He lost his mind. There's poles. I'm in a basement. There's poles everywhere. There's corners. There's a washing machine. Why didn't he lift his leg? No, he literally lifted his leg and peed all over me. It was crazy.
Wild.
Obviously, I was not mad. He was very frazzled. I'm like, I don't know what you're going through right now, but it's going to be okay.
Meanwhile, I was in the bar. Doot, doot, doot. Big fat worm. Doot, doot, doot. Doot, doot, doot.
Seriously. Everything's falling apart over here and you're at the bar. Well, luckily nothing happened here. And then, yeah, the next day was the start of the Wuwpod trip, and we went to see our friend Roz Hernandez do her hilarious comedy show at Gigi's in Detroit, and the whole group went. It was amazing.
It was amazing. And as soon as you and I walked in, we were like, this place is haunted.
Just first second I was in there. It was nuts. Like this show was in a basement, and that's not what it was. I know it wasn't. I've been in plenty of basements. And the second I walked, and listen, we went down in kind of clumps of people. So I went down, and then I asked like 4 people around me if they felt it, and they're like, no. And then I'm like, I know Tiny's gonna feel it. And then you came down, and I go, this place is haunted as shit. And you're like, oh yeah.
Yep. As soon as I walked into that stairwell, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And then we both said too, we both agreed that back by the bathrooms, it was like even worse.
Yeah, for sure. There was a lot of strange energy there.
I know. And then okay, so then we go to the show or we watch the show, la la la. And then there was like a meet and greet, so we're waiting because the line has to go by. So I was like chilling in the back, and I asked one of the bartenders, I'm like, "Yo, it feels haunted in here. I know it's haunted. What are your experiences?" And he pulled out his phone and showed me a crazy video of like some lights going on and off. And then when we were up by the stage, someone that was up there was supposedly the owner, and we were like, "Is this place haunted?" And then he pulled out his phone and showed us footage of like stuff falling all over the place in the storage room. I'm like, knew it.
Yeah, the guy who ran the place was like, oh yeah, absolutely haunted.
Yeah, that was crazy. But it's like the decorating down there was so cute. It had like a vintage energy. Like that place has been open for a long time. Oh, and then the bartender told me too that like they have a Miss Gigi's every year, and like the ones that have passed away, they have their names on the bar stools. So it could be maybe a past Miss Gigi's, or it really could be anybody. But
well, that's one of those things with haunted places. Like, of course, people have always traditionally assumed that haunted places are like locations of tragedy and whatever like that. But when you have a place that has been like a place of happiness, kindness, and a safe space for people, especially communities who have been marginalized, like, of course they're going to go back to the place, especially if it's filled with love and laughter and like being safe. I would.
yeah, for sure. Definitely had that energy. Oh, and also this doesn't have anything to do with anything. Again, they had of any bar or club I've ever been to in my life, had the biggest drinks I've ever seen in my life.
Big drinks.
I'm like, I instantly love this place. It feels haunted. It's cute. And their drinks are like a bucket. Like they were I had literally one drink. That's all you need. They were huge.
They were huge. And it was so funny because Roz, who has her podcast Ghosted like multiple times throughout her comedy set, was asking people for ghost stories or like if they were psychic.
Mm-hmm. But it was funny because our whole group was sitting together, like 23, literally 23 ghost people. And the rest of the basement was probably normies. Yep. And then she asked several times, does anybody have a ghost story? None of us raised our hands. That was probably our but we said, yeah, just let other people have their time because we talk about that shit all the time.
Yeah, we have our safe ghost space. And like there are people who had never told their ghost story before, and that was their first moment in front of a crowd of people to feel safe enough to tell their weird story, and that's super important.
For sure. I think like we all collectively were shooting each other in the eyes, and we all like arrived on that same thing. Like, no, we all know that we've got the stories. Like they don't have the time to listen to all of our crazy stories. So
the thing that I'm still thinking about that happened is when Roz asked, has anybody been in a throuple? And there was a table of guys next to the wall, and a guy goes, we were in a throuple, and Roz goes, what happened? And another guy at the table goes, yeah, what did happen?
There was a lot of audience participation. It was crazy. I loved it. She was so fun. I already knew she was going to be so funny and so pretty. And then it was like times 100 what I even imagined.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that was one of the best comedy sets I've ever seen.
Yeah, and you've seen how many?
I've seen a lot. I've seen more than you think. I don't even want to say who I've seen because they've all been canceled because they're all men. So, but...
I have a really good track record with knowing in advance who's garbage. You do not.
I don't. I know. I learn about people too late, and then they're famous, and then they do bad things, and then whatever. But well, I like Robbie Hoffman. That was a good one at Largo. But
I mean, I just don't know how people, I mean, this is something that comes up a lot too. Like, I don't know, sometimes people just get tricked because of, I don't know, like how Hollywood surrounds and builds people up. I will never understand at any time how anyone ever found Russell Brand funny.
no,
Like from the get-go, like thinking you are the cool British rocker comedian, I was out 10 seconds into him coming to America.
yeah, and he just like gradually. It's like right when you think he's gotten to his worst form, it literally keeps getting worse. He's just gonna be like, he's gonna turn into the thing at the end of The Substance eventually. He's just gonna morph into like this gross blob
This gross
creature.
blob with a dirty white t-shirt on.
Good grief. Anyway, so yeah, Ross was perfect. And then, well, y'all went out that night. I didn't go out because I knew I'm like, we are going to the zoo all day tomorrow and we have all the things to do. And if I drink, I'm going to be a mess tomorrow. So I did not go.
I went and we drank. That's the long and short of it.
Then we went to the zoo the next day. It was very cute. My dad came with us and walked around with us all day and was just like popping off jokes and buying people concessions and being everybody's dad. It was very cute.
My dad, my sister, and my brother-in-law dropped me off, so everybody got to meet my whole family essentially.
I know that's what I like about our trips is they're like genuinely like so intimate and cute and like you really get to see our like actual life and here's our favorite places. Here's people we know in real life. So it was very cute and the zoo has some pretty impressive things and the first thing that we walked into was our penguin house, which we've both never been in it
Never
before.
been there.
And they have a tunnel where you go underground and the penguins fly over your head. Not fly, swim.
They look like they're flying. They think they're flying.
They do think they're flying, but it's so it's so impressive. They were like, it was so big, and that was really cool. And then we have the other thing I think that people love the most was our butterfly house. We have like this little jungle dome thing, and butterflies flap all around you like a Disney movie.
Yeah, and then lead you directly into the crazy bird house.
Yes, the wild bird house. Smells like fish and birds.
And we were lucky because the otters were out.
Yeah, they were spinning around on their backs.
I overheard someone that was with us when we got to the end. We had all walked 6 miles.
Oh, oh, listen, you guys, our zoo is under construction and we got all the way to the back and it used to be kind of a straight shot to get out and now it's a nightmare maze with no signs and we all got lost a million times and it took so long to get out and I'm quite literally still tired. I've been tired since the trip ended.
Oh, I just woke up from a nap.
I know. We annihilated ourselves. Less walking on the next trip. That was too much. But
less walking.
then we got cute dinner. Our friends at Bobo's food truck, Bobo's Detroit, came and fed us at Hanson's Hall. I didn't get to tell you this, just one tiny note from that place is, so it's dog friendly. So I got to bring in Toadski after I got my food. So I'm sitting there and like what I thought was a stranger came walking up to me and was like, oh, can I pet your dog? And they were like petting Toad for a second. And I noticed their arms were like, but I'll get to it. But they were like, wait, that's why you look so familiar. They're like, you tattooed my arms. I like did constellations of their kids on their arms.
Oh, wow. Weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It was so cute. And they looked so good still. It was like a long time ago. And I took pictures. I was like, yeah, let me know if they ever need touching up or anything. Like it was so cute. So that was crazy.
The thing that I thought was funny was 2 things. So you booked us Bobo's to be at Hanson's Hall, which is in Ferndale.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend Randy's toy store is right next door. So some of us went over and bought toys, which I thought was fun. I am so out of my brain. You know this. I'm just an old man and out of my brain. I didn't realize who ran Bobo's.
Why do you think I go there so much? It's our homies Ray and Gracie from Stash that we used to do our Wuwpod talks at this place called Stash, but they closed and now they have a food truck and I stalk them everywhere because their food is so good.
I literally started to walk up to the food truck and I saw them inside and I was like, oh, okay. Jeez. Like I did one of those things where I was like, of course.
What I do is support the friends and the small businesses. We did all the cute things that weekend and supported all the good people.
Yep.
So that's funny though. Yeah, they're the best. And they've been everywhere. They'll pull up. They're doing really good. And they just got another truck too. And then, so, and then we went out to Gus's again that night. And, well, we took a break because we were all dead from the zoo. We took a break and then we went out to Gus's. And it was like all the stars aligned. And you guys know from listening to us that there's standout characters that we talk about on this podcast here and there. And like a lot of them were at the bar that night. So like we'd be like, this person so and so and this person so and so. And the whole group would be like, oh my God, I know you from the podcast. And they like our like friends were like feeling like famous that these people knew who they were. It was very cute, very wholesome.
It was very, very funny because you introduced me to the guy who helps fix stuff around your house.
The guys who hung my door that sat in my living room for 2 years, they were there.
And then I realized because they were like, yeah, this is us, John. Like, we know you. And I was like, what? How is this happening? I didn't even realize I knew who they were. And then they mentioned Scoey. And then I was like, well, I'll get him to come up here to talk to you guys. And then he showed up and without me even realizing all the Wuwpod people were there. And then I was like, oh shit, the Wuwpod people, not only have they met our family, they're about to meet another one. And then people knew your door guy, knew Scoey Lopez. It was so funny.
It was crazy. It was very cute. It's always a good time there. Towards the end of the night, well, I'm pretty sure we talked about on here that Scoey does x-rays and then he tells us crazy things that people put in their beehole.
Yep.
And I said, what do you got for me? What do you got? I'm always just like, I know you got something. What do you got since I've seen you? And this was literally at the end of the night and I was a little tipsy, so I don't really remember. He showed me the picture and what I'm recollecting is that it was a back massager, like a giant fucking back massager. Somebody put it in their beehole. And obviously the x-ray is crazy. And then he said they waited 6 fucking days to go to the hospital. Can you imagine?
So the one that he showed us outside, someone had inserted a cordless men's beard trimmer.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking it was. But why did it look so big? Maybe we both saw different things because I feel like the thing I saw was either way, 6 days.
But every single one of us outside when he showed it, we were like, why'd they use cordless? Like,
yeah,
if it had a cord, you could have gotten it out.
Good grief.
Good grief.
But anyway, and then Sunday anyway, I don't know how you segue from that, and then on Sunday we all went and got cute ice cream together at a local place, and
I thought it was a different local place, and I walked.
Yeah, you walked. Listen, I sent everybody an itinerary with the addresses, and Tenny just walked to a completely different ice cream place. Okay.
And then had to walk a mile.
But it was cute. Everything was so cute. Everybody had a really good time. And then I'll just have to start planning the next one, whenever that is. But
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Woo!
Woo!
Well, obviously my father was in town during the Wuwpod weekend because he had a doctor's appointment on Friday, so he came down on Thursday, and an hour after he was at my house, they canceled his appointment and rescheduled him for a week and a half away, so he has to come back down again. That's always really nice to do to an 81-year-old man who has to drive 5 hours to get to my house.
The whole U.S. medical system is in shambles, and it's just literally about to get way worse.
It's just nonsense. But he went up north. He'll be back in a week, and he wants nothing more than to cut my lawn. My lawn, no mow May, is still going on. Is so long. It's unbelievable.
Your lawn is a disaster now. But
I don't know how I'm going to cut it.
What's funny too is the point of no mow May is you're not supposed to get rid of the dandelions so that the bees and whatever can go on them. You have just the tallest grass ever and no fucking dandelions. So you're just having long grass for no reason. It's just a mess.
But I will tell you, all of the neighborhood dogs love it.
I bet.
They love it. I find multiple times in the long grass spots where I can see neighborhood dogs have laid down and pushed the grass down.
They're probably deer beds. We have deers around here.
It's probably deer beds too, probably. Oh, I watched. Do you have a movie that you love that you forget about until you watch it?
I forget about everything in my whole life. So I don't know. I probably do.
I mean, I feel like people do, so I do. And I watched it when I was looking for dad comfort, he's gone, I can relax. And I was going through Canopy. And so my movie suggestion for this episode is 1973 Paper Moon.
Is that a Woody Allen movie?
No, no.
Oh, okay, good. I don't think we recommend those.
I am not a Woody Allen
I
fan. I never
know.
have been.
Speaking earlier of guys who have been canceled, I don't. My bad.
It's Ryan and Tatum O'Neal, and it's like set in the Depression, and he's a con man, and he has to take charge of like this 8-year-old girl who's an orphan, and he teaches her how to be like a con lady. It is the sweetest, funniest. Like everyone needs to watch Paper Moon. It's like a delight to watch.
Is that with Tatum O'Neal?
Yeah, Ryan and Tatum O'Neal.
I think she was like the youngest winner of a Oscar for that. I don't know if the record still stands, but I thought at the time she did.
She might have. There's a part in the movie, it's so funny, and I'm not spoiling anything by telling you, there's a part in the movie where they have to spend like the night, and they're just got on the road, and he like goes into the room and he's sleeping on the floor, and of course he's giving the little girl the bed, and he like looks it up at her, and she's got this shoebox with like pictures of her mom and the people she loves in it and stuff, and she just cracks out a pack of cigarettes and starts smoking. He's like and you're like, oh yeah, this is 30s America. Like 9-year-old kids smoked cigarettes. It's crazy.
Yeah, they couldn't. I doubt they could show that now.
It would have to be digital.
Yeah, right.
I don't even think you can smoke on television today.
They smoke.
Not like on like ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I don't fucking know. Smoking is disgusting. Guess what? Maybe that's why.
I agree.
You are doing good, I think.
I'm doing better.
Well, you were cutting back. Wasn't really paying attention to it this weekend.
I've still cut back.
I like hearing that.
Even my dad's like, when he's down here, he's like, do you need smokes? And I'm like, nope. And then he'll go, been a while. And I go,
I know.
I know.
I like it. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, buddy.
Keep it up. I have barely watched literally anything. I have not had time. But one cute piece of movie news was there's an upcoming movie called Strange Arrivals that's going to be about Betty and Barney Hill, who are arguably the most famous UFO abductees ever. And the very exciting part is that Demi Moore and Coleman Domingo are going to play Betty and Barney Hill, which is like, I feel like they crafted this entire movie literally for me as a person.
Yeah. We need to talk about this.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I appreciate that.
Why?
I feel like, as this is just a complete John thing, I feel like one of my problems that I have when they make real, based on true events, paranormal stories is the story is already wild enough that like people will think it's fiction. And then when you cast people who don't look like the people and people look them up on the internet, it makes it seem even more unreal. Like if you didn't know who the Warrens were and you
they don't look anything like that.
That's what I mean. And you looked up the Warrens and you were like, oh, if they're willing to like use actors that don't look anything like they look.
Yeah, but like since the beginning of cinema, like that's the lucky part about it is well, no matter what you look like, they're gonna cast somebody that looks way better than you do. That's great. I'd be like, great.
That's what
Let everybody
wants.
think I look like that.
That's what everybody wants.
That sounds great.
I just don't know like how I feel about casting beautiful people as Betty and Barney.
That's a fucking slam. Well, we'll see what they do. I don't know anything about it. It's just like a very small tidbit that came out in the news recently. And then
before you go to, for anybody who might want to see, I think it is actually really better casting. But in the 70s, they made a Betty and Barney Hill made for TV movie that's called The UFO Incident. And James Earl Jones plays Barney Hill and Estelle Parsons plays Betty. And she looks just like Betty Hill. And I feel like, because this is kind of James Earl Jones' slimmer era, I feel like it's a really good representation of the Hill event. Plus, since it's the 70s, the little funny aliens look real funny.
Cute. So cute. I just love Coleman Domingo anyway. I'll watch him do anything. I don't really care.
I mean, I'm going to go see it, but
we're going to see it. And then the only other little crazy thing that came out was, well, me and you did an investigation weekend at this place in Michigan called Felt Mansion. It's like a haunted mansion on the west coast of Michigan. We got to do investigations for the whole, like every day of the weekend with Adam Berry, and a whole bunch of people that we know came out and hung out and investigated. And then it came out.
And it has the melons.
And it has the melon heads. Our old melon head episode that you'll remember is outside of Felt Mansion.
Melons!
So I almost said elected. I don't know even if that's the word. They created.
Selected?
They birthed a new pope the other day.
That's why they have to wear the big dresses.
That is.
Because a grown
He
man,
just popped out.
a grown man falls out from under.
This episode is unhinged. Anyway, so yeah, they knew Pope Leo, the first American pope, the other day. Then news breaks that he went to high school at frickin' Haunted Felt Mansion.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I mean, is it?
Yes. I think so.
He's the leader of a group that believes in a giant super ghost.
I know. Well, we take the small W's where we can get them, you know? He seems pretty cool. It could have been a lot worse. The stuff that he said publicly so far has been pretty legit.
Yeah, but a pope's a pope.
I freaking know. Like I swear.
Who? I think I was talking to somebody, maybe one of the bartenders at Gus's, about the new pope, and they were like, well, he seems like a good guy. And I'm like, but how good of a guy can you be when they're like, do you want to be the leader of like an organized ring of abusers?
I know. Trust me, I know. People are trying. Listen, that's been the internet's little problem the last couple of weeks is we want to be like, well, this could have been a lot worse, and he seems progressive and he seems cool, but it's like at the end of we still know what we're saying.
Right.
Trying to be positive, but it's still not great. Oh, that's it. That's all we got.
That's all I got.
Okay, good job.
Good job, buddy. Get some rest from the weekend.
I know. The weather has been just dreadful, and it's been making me just feel like a worm.
I know. As soon as I wake up, if it's raining, it's like someone's got a sleep sound machine on. And
it's rained for like 5 days in a row.
I know.
I can't. Anyway, we gotta go.
All right.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay, bye, buddy.
Okay, bye, bye.
Okay, bye.
Oh my god, bye, you guys. Oh my god, bye.
Bye. Bye.